How's it going, guys? So, a couple of days ago, I outlined to you guys a statement that was made by one of the founders of Black Lives Matter. The statement was crafted about, I think, like 5 years ago. And the reason I read that statement was because, now that we have this whole situation with George Floyd, um, you know, a lot of Jews, both secular and religious Jews, are coming out, and they're coming out in support and empathy, and to join the protests. And I'll tell you guys, they're doing it. You know, the intention is good. They're doing it. It's rightfully so. You know, what happened was horrible. But the thing is, what I've been saying to a lot of my Jewish brothers and sisters was that. Um, do so carefully. Why? Because there's an organization involved that's kind of leading the way, and the organization is called Black Lives Matter. So, like I said in the beginning, about a minute ago, one of the founders, she made a statement, and I read the statement out loud to you guys a couple of days ago. The statement basically outlining all of the, evil things that Israel has done to the Palestinians, and the solidarity that the Black Lives Matter or the African American community at large has to have with the Palestinians. And yeah, and the thing is, there's been a lot of chatter going around about this, and it seems to me that a lot of Jews still kind of don't get it. There's even some people that said, well, if you go to the Black Lives Matter websites today, you're not going to see any of this stuff anymore. This was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Um, well, I just want to tell you guys, for those of you guys who think that way, just because something's not on a website doesn't mean that people still don't believe it. It may just be not politically expedient for them to show this in public on their website, right? So what I want to do right now, actually, guys, is I actually want to read to you. First of all, there was actually a link that I missed. There was a link in that statement, in the website that I read from. I read from a website called Discover the Networks. This is a website that someone made to basically outline or map all of the different organizations, including Antifa and all these organizations that are basically funded by certain people. I'm not going to name them, but basically the idea is to either destroy America from within or take down America as it is and rebuild it in their image, which is basically they outline this. This is socialism. This is different policies, different things. So I'm going to read you actually from the link that I actually missed, and the link takes me to a website called For Palestine, right? And this website, if you go actually on the front page of the website, you see there's over 1,100 Black activists, artists, scholars, students, and organizations signed the 2015 Black Solidarity Statement with Palestine, including Angela Davis I think she was in the Black Panthers, I believe, Cornel West, Mumia Abu-Jabal, Talib Kweli, the rapper. You have like Dream Defenders, Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, Organization for Black Struggle in St. Louis. So basically, this is the story, my friends. This happened 5 years ago. This happened before Trump was even a thing, right? See, they have pictures of these Dream Defenders. They came to Hebron, and they're getting the face of, see, there you go, Israeli soldiers. This was actually in a response to Ferguson. This was a thing like Ferguson. They were trying to put like Ferguson and Palestine together. And yeah, that was the whole thing. That was the movement, right? So I want to read to you guys the statement of this organization. This statement is basically, or this organization is basically what you would call a division of Black Lives Matter, right? Actually, you know what? Let me read to you. See, they have a who we are. page, and I'll read to you guys real quickly. Okay, Black for Palestine is an emerging national network of black activists committed to supporting the Palestinian struggle for freedom, justice, peace, and self-determination, which actually means just erasing Israel. We seek to integrate our work around Palestine into the global and domestic struggles. Second. People always call me when I'm doing this. For black liberation and human emancipation. So they're relating it to the whole human story, as it were. We advocate full sovereignty and rights for the Palestinian people and fully endorse the boycott, divestment, sanctions movement. Again. We seek to engage the margins of Palestinian society, including the refugees in the Middle East, the prisoners movement, people in Gaza, and youth across the diaspora. Providing practical support towards the right of return is one of our priorities. We oppose racism. Here we go, my friends. Here you go. We oppose racism, capitalism, colonialism, imperialism, sexism, Zionism, and all forms of oppression. You could just keep going with the isms, you know what I mean? Rhythmism, which was a website I used to be a part of. We organize through an intersectional approach that values the struggles of women, LGBTQ, and indigenous people around the world. See, little do these people realize that, you have this, what's that organization? Queers for Palestine? So, if these guys go into Gaza, they'd be lynched. They'd be burned, and then they would be tied up to a motorcycle and dragged across the road. Okay. We have members across the country who are part of a variety of black organizations. We are an intergenerational group that includes artists, academics, full-time students. Okay, Okay, here we go. Okay, we can also talk at public or private events from following perspectives alongside our counterparts in Palestine. Art and film, the Black Church and religion, which apparently doesn't really care about the fact that the Jewish people are, indigenous to the land of Israel. The Civil Rights Movement, who apparently they don't care anymore. The Jewish people helped them. Movement for Black Lives, which is basically Black Lives Matter. Black Panther Party, New African Independence Movement. I'm not sure what that is. Policing, mass incarceration, political prisoners, public education, Cuban solidarity, Puerto Rican liberation, Pan-Africanism, Jews of color, and much more. My friends, these people don't realize that I know a lot of Jews of color, and those Jews of color live in Jerusalem, and they live in settlements in Israel. So, it's interesting. My friends, when you get into this whole, I'll tell you, when you get into this whole thing of intersectionality, you just start with this whole Tower of Babel, and you don't know where you're going to end up. You really don't. Okay, so now I want to read to you guys the statement of this organization called Black for Palestine. And after I read it to you guys, I'm going to... Just one sec, sorry about that, guys. I can't really see the entire page. And then after I read this to you guys, I'm going to read to you the signatories of organizations that signed on this statement, essentially, supporting this, right? Okay. Here we go. This says... this past year has been one of high-profile growth for Black Palestinian solidarity. Okay, so basically to them it's like, you're brown, we're brown, let's do it. Out of the terror directed against us, from numerous attacks on black life to Israel's brutal war on Gaza and chokehold on the West Bank. Okay, so this I read to you guys the other day. I'm going to read it again. Strengthened resilience and joint struggle have emerged between our movements. Palestinians on Twitter were among the first to provide international support for protesters in Ferguson, where St. Louis-based Palestinians gave support on the ground. Last November, a delegation of Palestinian students visited black organizers in St. Louis, Atlanta, and Detroit, and more, just months before the Dream Defenders took representatives of Black Lives Matter, Ferguson, and other racial justice groups to Palestine, whatever the heck that means. I don't know what Palestine is, but whatever floats your boat. Throughout the year, the Palestinians sent multiple letters of solidarity to us throughout the protests in Ferguson, New York, and Baltimore. We offer this statement to continue the conversation between our movements. On the anniversary of last summer's Gaza massacre, in the 48th year of Israeli occupation, meaning 48th years, so they're counting since 67, right? They're saying like this: 48th year of Israeli occupation, which is from 1967. Then they say the 67th year of Palestinians' ongoing Nakba, so basically since 48, since the tragedy, as they call it, the Arabic word for Israel's ethnic cleansing. Not Israel offering the Arabs coexistence of Arabs and saying the three no's, right? No, that's not the thing. It's that's their lens, that's their story, right? And in the fourth century of black oppression in the present-day United States, we, the undersigned black activists, artists, scholars, writers, and political prisoners, offer this letter of reaffirmed solidarity with the Palestinian struggle and commitment to the liberation of Palestine's land and people. We can neither forgive nor forget last summer's violence. We remain outraged at the brutality Israel. They're talking about 2014 when Israel, the three boys were taken and Israel, went to war with Gaza. Brutality Israel unleashed on Gaza through its siege by land, sea, and air, and 3 military offensives in 6 years. Yeah, in response to rockets and rockets and rockets and rockets since 2005, since we pulled out of our own people out of Gush Katif. We remain sickened by Israel's targeting of homes, school, and UN shelters and mosques, and ambulances and hospitals, all of which are used by Hamas as army bases. So basically, we remain sickened by Israel's targeting of Hamas army bases, homes, schools, UN shelters, mosques, ambulances, and hospitals. We remain heartbroken and repulsed by the number of children Israel killed in an operation called defensive. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, like, the lies are just astronomical. You know, the manipulations and lies are just so, I can't even begin. We reject Israel's framing of itself as a victim. We're not a victim, my friends. We're trying not to be. That's why we don't have an army, and that's why we refuse to have rockets thrown at our cities, and we will fight back eventually, right? Unfortunately, anyone who takes an honest look at the destruction of life and property in Gaza can see Israel committed one-sided slaughter. With 100,000 people still homeless in Gaza, the massacre's effects continue to devastate Gaza today and for years to come. Israel's injustice and cruelty towards Palestinians is not limited to Gaza, but its problem is not with any particular Palestinian party. The oppression of Palestinians extends throughout the occupied territories, within occupied territories, which they actually call the 67 borders, but now it says within Israel's 1948 borders. My friends, so they have to make a decision. Is the occupation since 1967 or 48? Like, it's not working out here. I'm not getting it. you got to be consistent. And into neighboring countries, yeah, the ones that try to push us into the sea in 67 and 73 and at other times. The Israeli occupation forces continue to kill protesters, including children, conducting night raids on civilians. Yeah, the guys who come and kill and slaughter. By the way, guys, I don't know if you guys heard, a guy tried to come into Itamar again. You know, we had an attack on the family in 2006, on the Fogel family in Itamar. So yeah, I mean, we're just night raiding civilians for no reason. Hold hundreds of people under indefinite detention, yeah, like our own kids, settler kids, and demolish homes while expanding illegal Jewish-only settlements. Yes, illegal. If you read the Bible, and if you are in fact a black church, you'll understand that this is our land. Israeli politicians, including Benjamin Netanyahu, incite Palestinian citizens within Israel-recognized borders. Yeah, that's why we have 15 Arab Knesset members, the most we've ever had in the Knesset, which are basically a fifth column at this point. Where over 50 laws discriminate against non-Jewish people, our support extends to those living under occupation and siege, Palestinian citizens of Israel, and the 7 million Palestinian refugees exiled in Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, and Palestine. The refugees' right of return to their homeland is in present-day Israel is the most important aspect of justice for Palestinians. So, my friends, so here's the thing. Now we have to ask a question. So, if these people say that those people all have to return to what is Israel, and let's say they forget about the actual apartheid that goes on in Jordan, in Lebanon, and in Syria. So my question is, you guys say you're not anti-Semitic. These guys say they're not anti-Semitic. I'm just wondering, where did they expect all the Jews, the Sephardic Jews that came from Morocco and Yemen and all these other places, and Iraq, where did they expect them to go? Where do they expect us to go, Ashkenazi Jews? Yeah, back to Europe, right, where they're having a fantastic time. Back to Poland, back to Ukraine, back to Russia, back to, I don't know, Spain offered us a place to come. Maybe we can go to Spain. I don't know. I don't think they care. I don't think they're wondering where we're going to go. I think they're thinking we might stay there and just live as, dhimmis under Islamic Sharia law. Okay. I don't know. The question hasn't been answered yet. Palestinian liberation represents an inherent threat to Israeli settler colonialism and apartheid, an apparatus built and sustained on ethnic cleansing, land theft, land which we bought since the 1800s, and denial of Palestinian humanity and sovereignty. Stuff that we offered them again and again and again, and they said no, 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 and no. And intifada, and another intifada. While we acknowledge that the apartheid configuration in Israel-Palestine is unique from the United States and South Africa, we continue to see connections between the situation of Palestinians and black people. Israel's widespread use of detention. So now they're saying that we are pretending we're to be the victim, which we're actually not. We're actually fighting back. Yet they are the eternal victim, and we're the victims here in America, and these are the guys are the victims there, and we're victims together. Yay, victims. Okay, Israel. Okay, Israel's widespread use of detention and imprisonment against Palestinians evokes a mass incarceration of black people in the U.S., including the political imprisonment of our own revolutionaries. Soldiers, police, and courts justify lethal force against us and our children who pose no imminent threat. And while the U.S. and Israel would continue to oppress us without collaborating with each other, we have witnessed police and soldiers from two countries train side by side. So basically, they train side by side. Therefore, it's like an oppression force. Like I'm telling you, I'm talking to a friend today, my guys, and he told me there's he used the word omek. Omek means depth. There's you have these conversations about politics with people today. It almost seems like it's just, I'm telling you, it's what Jordan Peterson calls low resolution thinking. People are they lack nuance, right? There's no depth anymore. They're just like, these guys are victims, we're victims, boom, unless this is just lip service, and unless they're actually just anti-Semites, and they don't really care where we end up, right? U.S. and Israeli officials and media criminalize our existence, portray violence against us as isolated incidents, and call our resistance illegitimate or terrorism. These narratives ignore decades and centuries of anti-Palestinians and anti-black violence that have always been the core of Israel and the U.S. The core, like the very core. It's like we're out to get them. Yeah. We recognize the racism that characterizes Israel's treatment of Palestinians is also directed against others in the region, including intolerance. Yeah, intolerance that we take in Sudanese refugees and Eritrean refugees, and Egypt shoots them. Egyptian police shoots them, right? Against others in the region, including intolerance, police brutality, and violence against Israel's African population. Israeli officials call asylum seekers from Sudan and Eritrea infiltrators and detain them in the desert. Now, actually, we don't detain them. Egypt shoots them. While the state has sterilized Ethiopian Israelis without their knowledge or consent. I believe Ethiopians in Israel some of them live in Israeli settlements, and most of them serve in the army, and they're part of our society. Miss Israel was Ethiopian, I think it was, 5 years ago? Actually, when the time that this was written. See, it says, these issues call for united action against anti-blackness, white supremacy, and Zionism. Yes, the movement of the Jewish people in their ancestral homeland. Okay. We know Israel's violence towards Palestinians would be impossible without the U.S. defending Israel on the world stage and funding its violence worth over $3 billion annually. Yes, these people. I'm telling you, these people are. It's like such an incredible distortion. Yes, this $3 billion is a grant that actually goes back into the American economy, which we have to buy sometimes inferior weapons. Maybe with the exception of the F-35, which is actually modified by the IAF as the F-35I. Okay. I'm telling you, my friends, it's such lack of just facts and nuance and depth. It's astounding, and these people think that they can trick everybody into believing this stuff, right? We call on the U.S. government to end economic and diplomatic aid to Israel. Actually, my friends, this is actually the one sentence in this entire thing that I can agree with. Yes, I also call on the U.S. government to end this $3 billion grant to Israel, and then once Israel stops taking it, when America says jump, Israel will have to say, sorry, I don't jump for you no more. We wholeheartedly endorse Palestinian Civil Society's 2005 call for boycott, divestment, and sanctions, BDS, against Israel, and call on black and American U.S. institutions and organizations to do the same. We urge people of conscience to recognize the struggle, Palestinian liberation, as a key matter of our time. As the BDS movement grows, we offer G4S, the world's largest private security company, as a target for further joint struggle. G4S harms thousands of Palestinian political prisoners illegally held in Israel, and hundreds of black and brown. See, like I said, brown. Okay, yes, let's go. Youth held in its private juvenile prisons in the U.S. The corporation profits from incarceration and deportation from the U.S. and Palestine to the U.K., South Africa, and Australia. We reject notions of security that make any of our groups unsafe and insist no one is free until all of us are. We offer this statement first and foremost to Palestinians whose suffering does not go unnoticed and whose resistance and resilience under racism and colonialism inspires us. It is to Palestinians as well as the Israeli and U.S. government. Yeah, it inspired them so much that they went to Fifth Avenue and destroyed all the property there. It is to us. It is to Palestinians as well as to the Israeli and U.S. governments that we declare our commitment to working through cultural, economic, and political means to ensure Palestinian liberation at the same time as we work towards our own. We encourage activists to use the statement to advance solidarity with Palestine, and we also pressure our own black political figures to finally take action on this issue. Yeah, we see the guy from CNN, I forgot the guy's name, he finally joined them. As we continue these transitional conversations and interactions, we aim to sharpen our practice of joint struggle against, again my friends, this is all back to the focus here, against capitalism, colonialism, imperialism, and various racisms embedded in and around our societies, towards liberation. So my friends, capitalism is synonymous with racism, colonialism, and imperialism, and any other ism, and yeah, that's it. All right, my friends, let's read a list of signatories. This is for the Jewish people who are marching with, or defending rather, Black Lives Matter. I want to read you the list of signatories to this particular thing that I just read out loud to you, which is basically a whole pile of steaming BS. Okay, here we go. There's about 49 of these people. Oh, that's interesting. 49 signatories corresponding to the 49 Sefirot that we count on from Pesach to Shavuot, and also corresponding to the level of Tumah the Jewish people were on, of ritual impurity that we were at right before we left Egypt, my friends. So it's interesting, it's very instructive. I look for these patterns, a lot of people don't notice these things. I notice these things, just my little shtick. Okay. Number 1, African Awareness Association, Richmond, Virginia. All African People's Revolutionary Party, United States, doesn't say where, I guess all over the place. Amistad Law Project, West Philadelphia, born and raised. Asada's Daughters, Chicago, Illinois. Baltimore Block, Baltimore, Maryland. Barry University Black Student Union, Miami, Florida. Black Autonomy Federation, Northeast Branch, New York City. Black Bottom LLC, I don't know what the heck that is. I don't want to know. Detroit, Michigan. Black Student Alliance at Yale. Oh, Yale, okay. New Haven, Connecticut. Black Student Alliance Executive Board, St. Louis University, St. Louis. Black Student Union in Berkeley, not a surprise. Black Unity Group, San Jose, California. Black Workers for Justice, I guess Socialist Group in North Carolina. Black, BLAQ, capital QUE, UCLA, Los Angeles, California. Coalition of African Lesbians, all over Africa. Okay. Columbia University of Black Students Association, New York, New York. Columbus Coalition on Mental Health, Addiction and Mass Incarceration, Columbus, Ohio. Detroit Youth Volume, Detroit, Michigan. Dorothy Cotton Institute, Ithaca, New York. Friends of the Congo, Washington, D.C. Hands Up United. I guess it's like they're, against police brutality, St. Louis, Missouri. Institute of Black World 21st Century, of the Black World 21st Century, Atlanta, Georgia. James and Grace Lee Boggs Center to Nurture Community Leadership, Detroit, Michigan. MAD, Mothers, Netherlands. Mothers Against Discrimination and Racism in the Netherlands. Madre Tierra Collective, Washington, D.C. Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, New Africa. I don't even know where the heck this is. Missourians are organizing for reform and empowerment, more, St. Louis, Missouri. Muslims for Economic, Racial, and Reproductive Justice. So this is basically Muslims who want to be able to have abortions and go against the Quran. Okay. All over America. Network for the Elimination of Police Violence. Okay, Toronto, Canada. New African Independence Party, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. New Jim Crow Movement. So against Jim Crow, Jacksonville, Florida. One DC, Washington, D.C. I don't know what that is. Organization for Black Struggle, St. Louis, Missouri. Piece by Peace, like Peace, P-E-A-C-E, by P-I-E-C-E, USA, all over the place. Progressive Millennials for Action. Bunch of white kids, Chicago, Illinois. San Francisco Bayview, San Francisco, California. Spoken Word Alliance at Tufts. So it's like the poets, right? Medford, Massachusetts. A bunch of white kids. Actually, no, it could be everybody. Stanford NAACP Executive Committee, Palo Alto, California. The Cornerstone, Boston, Massachusetts. The Dream Defenders, Miami, Florida. Freedom Archive, San Francisco, California. Tribe X, St. Louis, Missouri. Tufts Pan-African Alliance, Medford, Massachusetts. UCLA African Student Union, Los Angeles, California. Ujima People's Progress Party, Baltimore. We Are the Ones, Boston, Massachusetts. We Are the People of Detroit, Detroit, Michigan. Wisdom Within Health and Wellness, Columbus, Ohio. And the Women of Color with a U, Global Women's Strike, UK, United Kingdom. Oh, individuals. Oh, there's a list of individuals, my friends. Wow. So I just want to find some of these. Okay, so there's about individuals. So those are the organizations. There was about 1,155 individuals that signed this thing. I want to list some of the prominent people who signed this list. Okay, here we go. A. Pulley, right? I don't know what the first name is. A. Pulley, Chicago, Illinois, artist, activist, organizer, affiliation, Black Lives Matter. A. Zulu, student, Organization for Black Struggle. Aaron Dixon, Seattle, Washington, activist, organizer, writer, former Black Panther Party captain. Let's take a look. Let's see who else signed this. See, I just want to look for the prominent people here. A lot of people to see. People with like a Muslim names. Ahmad, Aisha, all this kind of stuff. Here we go. Aisha Saleh, Upland, California, Students of Justice in Palestine. Ajamu Dillahunt, Raleigh, North Carolina, Black Workers of Justice. Ajamu Dillahunt Holloway, I guess it's probably the same person. Let's see, who else? I'm just looking for like somebody people would know. But I also, people from Black Lives Matter. Already one person. Let's see. Here we go. United Church of Christ. Apparently Christ was not a Jew and had nothing to do with Israel. Alma Faith Crawford of Chicago, I guess this is Louisiana, but this is supposed to be Illinois. Let's see, who else? Okay, we'll go down this list. Let's scroll. I just want to find like a famous, a well-known person that I can. Oh, here we go. Angela Y. Davis. Already mentioned her. Now she's a scholar. She was a Black Panther woman. Now she's a scholar. Santa Cruz, California University. She's a professor at UC Santa Cruz now. Wow, amazing. Wow, good on you. Chazak Baruch. You moved to. Our live will happen soon, my friend. Let me just finish reading this list for people. Let's see, who else? I'm just looking for people that are part of what people... Oh, here we go. Arminta Jeffries, Hempstead, New York. Activist organizes Black Lives Matter. Let's see. Let's keep going down this list. I'm only focusing on famous people and people in Black Lives Matter in this list of people who signed this statement for solidarity with Palestine and the black movement in America. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Let's keep going. So far we got two people officially Black Lives Matter and Angela Davis. Let's see, who else? Tufts University, Guadalupe Haiti Tour. Some guy named Carl Dix from Brooklyn, Revolutionary Communist Party in small letters. Okay, cool. Let's see. Chanda Prescott Weinstein, Cambridge, Massachusetts, MLK postdoctoral fellow in physics, MIT. So I don't know if she married a Jewish guy or if she is Jewish. Okay, there we go. Tikkun Olam and all that stuff, right? Let's see. Cheyenne Jones, Boston, Massachusetts, Women of Color in Solidarity. Here we go. Chloe Matthews, New York, Columbia University Black Students Association organization. Let's see, who else? Christine Asefafeleke. I'm sorry, I don't mean to butcher the name. It's a very difficult to read. St. Louis, Missouri, Organization for Black Struggle. Okay. Let's see, who else? Clarence Thomas. Not the Clarence Thomas you're thinking of. Another Clarence Thomas from the Million Worker March Movement. Okay. Let's see, who else? Yes, hi guys, how are you? I hope you're enjoying this. Let's see, who else? Signed this thing in solidarity of Palestine and the African American movement in America, or African American movement here. So, I already read I think 3 Black Lives Matter names, and Angela Davis and a couple other people. Let's see. Still going on. You're talking about 1,155 people that signed this petition. Probably more that believe in this stuff that I just read to you guys in the beginning of the program. Here we go. Black Student Union, Portland State University. Yeah, Portland State is like notorious. Diallo L. Bennett. Let's see. D. Venci, like D. Apostrophe Venci Lucas, Stanford University. Then you have Black Unity Group, San Jose State University, Diana Krumedi. Then you got, just keep going. Institute of the Black World 21st Century, Don Rojas, Baltimore, Maryland. Here we go, Black Lives Matter, Charleston, South Carolina, Donald Cid. CID, I guess it's like, he's Spain, or Hispanic. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Dragonfly, Miss Justice something, Brooklyn, CUNY MA, Applied Theater, Artists for Justice NYC, The Stop Shop. Wow. Okay. Let's see, who else signed this? The Malcolm X Center for Self-Determination, Efia Nwangaza, Greenville, South Carolina. Black Youth Project 100, in Enchanta Jackson, Kentucky. What a name. Ella Enchanta Jackson. Let's see, who else? I'm going to move this over, guys, so I can kind of scroll down here. It's amazing, all the people that love Israel, huh, my friends? All the people that want to see Israel disappear off the face of the earth. It's really incredible, my friends. But you know what? I had a friend today that says that it's kind of partially our fault because of our lack of unity. Oh, here you go. U.S. campaign to end Israeli occupation. Felicia Eves, Washington, D.C. Guys, I'll tell you something. When Obama was president, he had his mentors, before that, actually, Rashid Khalidi and Edward Said, would have been the signatories of these things. I'll tell you guys like that right now. Let's see. I just want to go into stuff like just Black Lives Matter people that signed this. Here we go. Or just people affiliated with any of this kind of stuff. Plymouth Congregational United Church of Christ. Again, apparently Christ had nothing to do with Israel. He was not a Jew, even though I don't believe in him. But, you know, let's call a spade a spade. Grayland Scott Hagler, Washington, D.C. I want to ask these people who are Christians, who believe in God, how do they justify the fact that this land does not, that they say that this land does not belong to Jewish people? Like, how do they even, like, you know, the Nakba of 1948 and the thing of 1967, like, how do they actually justify the fact that the Judea and Samaria doesn't belong to Jewish people? I'm curious to hear a Christian, this Plymouth Congregational United Church of Christ, tell me what he thinks about, what is his answer to this question, this ever-burning question. Yes, Benem Lutzker. Hey, what's going on, my friend? Yes, how are you? Long time no speak, long time no see. Here we go. International, okay. Power U Center for Social, okay, wait, that's something else. Africana Studies Organization at Clark Atlanta University. Helena McAllister, Atlanta, Georgia. Guys, after I read this list to you, I'm going to tell you something, a funny story about the Prime Minister of Canada, and you guys will understand after I tell you the story how ridiculous these people are, how they've built the Tower of Babel, which will actually collapse very, very soon. You'll understand what I'm saying. Let's see. Keep going. I'm still on like 500. I'm about a third. No, actually, I'm almost halfway through this list, guys. I'm sorry to bore you, but I'm just trying to make a point here. I'm trying to make a point. Oh, here we go. Black Lives Matter, Long Beach. or LB. Jai Hudson, Huntington Beach, California. I feel like sometimes like these people just don't know any better, you know? They don't know the history of what I just outlined when I was reading to you guys this list and like all these nuances about Israel and the Arabs and the conflict. They just don't know any better. They just like read stuff. Yeah, black, brown and brown. Let's get together. Okay, so here. Who else? Oh, here we go. Black Lives Matter, Seattle. Jamina Shannon, Vancouver, Washington, not Canada. Here, Black UCLA, Jeanette Osborne, Los Angeles, California. Let's see. More stuff. Here we go. Yeah. Chicago Teachers Union, Black Caucus, Jesse and McAdoo Jr., Chicago, Illinois. Hip Hop Revolution, Jody Sykes, Chesapeake, Virginia. Oh, my alma mater. Here we go. Baruch College, CUNY, City University of New York, Johanna Fernandez, activist, scholar, assistant professor. I don't know if I remember her. Okay. Let's see. Who else? Here we go. My friends, this will be over very soon. Zat Hashem. Dream Defenders. These are the guys. Dream Defenders. These are the guys that actually went to Hebron and they got in the face of soldiers, Israeli soldiers. Let's see. Who else can I read to you about? My friends, so far I think we have already 6 names or 7 names from Black Lives Matter alone, and then there's other African American organizations on campuses. New African Black Panther Party, Prison Chapter, Kevin Rashid Johnson, Clemens Unit, Amarillo, Texas. So this is an inmate. New African Independence Party, Khalid Rahim, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is interesting. The Moldy Peaches, the Uncluded, Camilla Dawson, Seattle, Washington. I'll tell you guys, I'm reading this list and I realize in America sometimes you get the feeling everybody loves a victim. It's just like you guys should read the book. There's a book written about this very concept called Underdogma, right? By Michael Prell. It's basically outlining why, and it talks about Israel actually, why Israel is now seen as the bully as opposed to, before they were seen as the underdog, right? Here, Black Workers for Justice, Socialist Thing, KW Unite, North Carolina. By the way, these guys today are like having a field day, in case you guys are wondering. They most likely, UC Berkeley Black Student Revolution, Kyle McCoy, Oakland, California. International Black Women's Congress, LaFrancis Rogers Rose, PhD. Wow. Black Activist Writers Guild, Larry Pinckney, Minnesota and California. Oh, I make my home in 2 places. Writer, organizer, and activist. Okay. Black Organizing for Leadership and Dignity, Bold, Lisa Thomas Adeyemo, Oakland, California. Artist, activist, healer, teacher, somatic body worker, and coach. Interesting. Cool. She would fit right in with Crown Heights with some of my friends. Okay. Let's see, who else? Zimbabwe Pan-Africanist Youth Agenda. This guy needs to focus on talking to his leader about all the torture he does of his own people, Mr. Mugabe, and the hyperinflation he caused. Mafa Kwanisai Mafa. Cool. Awesome name. Next, Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. Makungu M. Akinyela, PhD. Atlanta, Georgia. Cool. Next. Black Lives Matter. Seattle, Washington. Mara Jacqueline Williford. Awesome. Cal Black Student Union. Marcel Jones. Berkeley, California. Black Agenda Report. New York, New York. Margaret Kimberly. Women of Color. Global Women's Strike. Margaret Prescott. Oh, this is the same woman that had Weinstein, but I guess she used 2 different names to sign the thing. Very nice. Who else? Let's just finish this list. Black Lives Matter Seattle. Marissa Johnson. Really, they're really strong in Seattle with this anti-Israel stuff, huh? Awesome, man. Black Arts Movement. Marvin X. Cool. There's Malcolm X, now we got Marvin X. Oakland, California. Black Youth Project 100, Maximilian Boykin, Chicago, Illinois. Okay, this is a socialist guy. Well, whatever, we can include him in as well. We already know about the socialists, how they feel about Israel. Commemoration Committee for the Black Panther Party, Oakland, Jericho, Berkeley, California. Melvin Dixon. Okay, International Socialist Organization, semicolon, Black Lives Matter, comma, Long Beach, California, Michael Brown, activist. Okay. My friends, in case you haven't gotten the point yet, you understand that my Jewish brothers and sisters, I'm telling you again, you're marching with this movement. I'm not saying you should not empathize, I'm not saying you should not care, I'm just telling you to be very, very, very careful. And do not deny the elephant in the room. Do not say, oh, it's not on their website anymore, therefore, blah, blah, blah. My friends, I mean, this was, okay, this thing was signed 5 years ago. I can't imagine, just like I can't imagine Hamas changed their, or the PA changed their charters, I can't imagine these guys changed their stances on these issues, okay? Here, Black Caucus of California Community Colleges, Nechasi El Amin. I want to find like a big name, you know? Like a big, big name. My friends, I mean, you get the point. I'm not going to finish reading this list because it's another like 300 people to go. But I do want to find a big name here. What's up, Bo Strasberg? Yes, Bo Strasberg. You know, I'm just, in case you just got here, I'm reading a list of people who signed this statement. Is on a website called Black for Palestine. It's like a solidarity statement between the black movement in America, Black Lives Matter in particular, and the Palestinian cause, whatever the heck that is, right? Yes, all respect, I recognize. You better recognize, since we're on the topic. I just want to find a big name that everybody knows here. I would assume that they would list this, where the person is from. Here we go, another one. Covenant Baptist United Church of Christ, Reverend Dr. Dennis W. Wiley. Thank you very much for sharing, Esther Lamb. Yes, I noticed that when numbers go up, I figure somebody shared it. Thank you very much, yes. Interfaith Peace Builders. Oh, okay, so these guys actually want to, you know, take only half our land, not the entire one. Okay. Reverend Joy Orr, Atlanta, Georgia. God Can Ministries, Progressive Millennials for Action, Reverend Bianca R. Davis. You know, my friends, sometimes I get the feeling there's people that hate us, and sometimes I get the feeling that people are just misguided. And I feel like there are people on this list that are misguided, they mean well, you know, whatever. But even then, what do they say? What do we say? The road to hell is paved with what? As we know, good intentions. Okay. Here you go. I just want to find a really prominent person. I found Angela Davis is there, and what's his name? The other guy, Cornel West, is on this list. Not surprising. By the way, guys, Cornel West the other day said actually all this stuff that it was actually supposed. He said this stuff that people are protesting about, it was supposed to be solved during the 8 years of Obama and his other and who's the guy? The oh my God, the Obama's top lawyer. What is his name? Oh my God, Attorney General. What the heck's his name? Not Loretta. Oh, there was Loretta Lynch, who's also African American. There was also another Eric Holder. So Eric Holder, Loretta Lynch, and Obama. He basically says, Cornel West says, they didn't solve this issue in the 8 years that they had a chance, and now it's a problem. Yes, Eric Holder, Bo Strasberg. Thank you very much. Here we go. And this guy is like, yeah, he campaigned on hope and change and this and that, and everybody thought that he was going to be the... Actually, Rabbi Kessin actually says, you know, Obama, he could have been the messianic figure, not Mashiach, but messianic figure of both Ishmael and, what is it called? And you know, and Ham, and the African American community, for his community. But he wasn't. He wasn't. So that was that. That's that. That's the end of that story. Okay, my friends? But we still see the residue of this nonsense today, right? We're dealing with this division was caused back then by him, and we're still seeing it today. Yes, Eric Wingman Holder. Yes. Here, I just want to find another big name, but you honestly, you guys get the point. And I'll tell you guys a story. I'll tell you guys it's funny, but it's actually really, really sad, and it illustrates what's going on in this Welt, as we say, in this world. 2 years ago, I went to my sister's college graduation. My sister is 16 years younger than I. She's a very bright kid. Very proud of her. She majored in finance, and now she works at a VC firm. I went to her graduation, and I'm sitting in, the graduation was held in Yankee Stadium, so I'm sitting in the upper deck of Yankee Stadium, and it's a rainy day, and we have all these, the umbrellas and the ponchos on, and we're sitting there, and my parents are sitting there, and they're very proud, and my parents are, they're very proud and crying. They paid all this money for their daughter to go to university, and, and pride and joy and all this kind of stuff, and so am I. And who do they have as the keynote speaker speaking at this commencement speech? None other than Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada. The cutest leader in the world. Or as my mother likes to call him, what is it? The Disney Prince. The really dumb Disney Prince, right? So he gets up there and he talks about this and he talks about that, virtue signal this and virtue signal that. And then he says, guys, I'm the son of a prime minister, and, I went to college, and I lived in Canada, and I was very sheltered, and then one semester I got to go to a semester abroad, or was it like a whole year abroad? I don't know where he went. And when I went abroad, and I spent some time abroad, I was 20 years old, as it were, and I realized that, we live in this one world, and we live in this global world, and everybody's kind of human, and really, he says, once you kind of go beyond the boundaries of your tribalism, beyond your tribe, you realize that everybody kind of sort of speak wants the same thing, and everybody's the same, and it's wonderful, and this and that. Okay, fine. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, you just made a really compelling argument for your point, for your vantage point, and your life experience. Fine, my friends. In the very next sentence, what does Trudeau say after talking about this whole transcending tribalism, Zach, as we say in Yiddish, this whole thing? He says, I just want to commend the graduating student so-and-so, president of the African American, or actually the African Students Association of NYU, for being proud of his heritage and for being an exemplary, whatever, example of his heritage, and the African Students Association and African community at NYU, and he will go on to be a proud member of his community, and wonderful. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, and I'm like, did I just, imagine things? Did I just, am I mishearing something? Am I hard of hearing? Am I getting old? I was like, I'm 39 now. I was 37 at the time. Am I just getting old? Am I getting senile? Maybe the hairs that grow inside my ears are blocking my ability to hear properly. Maybe I'm just, filtering things improperly here. Maybe, I don't know, something's going on over here. Did this guy just say you have to transcend tribalism, and in the next breath talked about he's proud of this guy in the African Student Association and African American Student Association? And everybody's just clapping and looking at him with doe eyes, especially the girls, and they're just like, oh, wow, he's so cute and so articulate and so cute and so wonderful. And I'm just sitting there, and me and my parents are just sitting there, we're just like, you know what, man, let's just get through this. My sister, or, your daughter graduated college, she's going to go on to have an incredible career, it's going to be a big success, as Borat likes to say, great success. It's going to be great, and as Trump says, it's going to be fantastic, it's going to be great, it's going to be wonderful, it's going to be a success, it's going to work out. Okay, let's get through this speech, and everything will be fine. But my friends, the point is, why am I telling you about this? The point is, just as I read to you this whole, this manifesto by this movement called Black for Palestine, which is actually associated with Black Lives Matter, or what they used to call the Black Movement. You start to realize that people don't really know what's called their you-know-what from their elbow. They don't, because of this whole thing of intersectionality that they've created, this whole thing of LGBTQ for Palestine, or queers for Palestine, mixed with racism, mixed with capitalism, mixed with this, mixed with transgender, mixed with this, the list goes on and on and on and on, and they just jumble every victim in the world together, or perceived victim, right, together, they don't know what's flying anymore. They don't know their you-know-what from their elbow. It's just, my friends, it's just, this is where we're at. They've built, these people, this movement, whatever you want to call it, leftism, what do they call it? Postmodernism, whatever you want to call it, whatever name you want to give it. These people have built a veritable Tower of Babel, right? And you know what happened with the Tower of Babel? You know, it goes up and up and up like, in their case, it goes up and up like this, right? Like a pretzel. They twisted themselves into this ideological pretzel that goes up and up and up and up like this. And eventually, it's just going to go, once it gets really, really up there, it's just going to go plop. My friends, this is what's happening today. You guys are witnessing, we're almost there. They've reached the height of heights, right? The ultimate height. You know, of rioting in the streets and Cartier and, you know, destroying Cartier and destroying this and destroying that. All the while, the very companies they're destroying, my friends, this is also part of the whole thing. The companies that got destroyed are now sending letters to the customers. Yes, we stand in solidarity with the very movement that broke our storefronts. You know, because some of these companies actually have physical locations, right? I mean, my friends, I I don't even know, I have no comment. I have no words for this. It's just astounding, as Rabbi Kessin would say. It's astounding. The whole thing's astounding. So to close off, my friends, I just want to tell you, my Jewish brothers and sisters who are in solidarity with people and empathizing and marching and all these wonderful things, I just want to tell you, be very, very careful who you ally yourself with. I'm talking about organizationally. I'm not talking about racial. I'm talking about organizationally. And there are some people that have a lot of nefarious ideas, especially for Israel. You know, I saw my friend, or somebody I consider a friend, Dov Heiken, marching in the, you know, with people in Brooklyn. And it's funny, I always say, if only they knew that Dov Heiken is a person who, you know, regularly attends something called the Jerusalem High Dinner, which is basically the organization, the old city of Jerusalem. What do? They purchase homes from Arabs in the Muslim quarter, and they you know, they refurbish them, rebuild them, and this is where Jews go to live, or, you know, and then you have the Yemenite quarter, whatever it is. So I'm thinking to myself, like, if these guys only knew what Dov Heiken was up to, they wouldn't be marching with Dov Heiken. I can tell you that much. So, my friends, I mean, we have to be very, very careful. We have to be really, really, really careful. And as I said in previous, I don't know, 3 or 4 lectures, always at the end, the crocodile usually, if you guys don't know anything about Jewish history, 101, the past 2,000 years, maybe more, 3,000 years Jewish history, the crocodile always eats you first. How do we know, my friends? Because again, and I mentioned this yesterday, the mayor of Minneapolis, who did everything possible, he's a Jewish guy, young, good-looking Jewish guy, 38 years old. He did everything humanly possible to empathize and to, you know, he knelt before the casket of George Floyd. He knelt before it. And then he got up and he spoke in front of a crowd in Minneapolis and he said, well, you know what, guys? Let's not get too crazy. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to, you know, cut the funding of the police in Minneapolis. And what do you think the people did? The crowd, they said, go home, you know, Steve Urkel. What did Carl Winslow say to Steve Urkel? Steve, go home, go home, go home. I don't have to take this. I'm going home. So, my friends, telling us to go home, not to Israel, but to our house in Minnesota or Minneapolis, that's nothing. That's the tip of the iceberg, my friends. But that's actually where it begins. And any other politician, you know, Jewish politician, who doesn't ultimately give this movement, whatever it is, what it wants, which is basically everything, my friends, I shudder to think what's going to be. So I'm telling you, my Jewish brothers and sisters, whether you're Reform conservative or Orthodox, be very, very, very careful. And yeah, guys, I mean, just don't get it twisted. Don't have illusions. Enough with your illusions, my friends. You know, this summer we had a little tiny trickle of people where last summer, you know, it's like a flat line of statistics, people applying for Aliyah, 400 people every summer, or in May, let's say, every May. This May we had 800 people applying for Aliyah. It's not that big, you know, but it's double the amount of people, my friends. So people, you know, I'm talking to my friends, a lot of people who were previously, I don't know, when I was talking about living in Israel, I don't know, a few years ago, and these people are like, nah, I don't know, parnasa, income, shmincome, whatever. And now the same people are like, well, I'm rethinking. Well, you know, my wife, she wants to go. I don't know if I want to go, but I don't know. We'll see, whatever. We'll figure it out. Hashem will help. Blah, 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 blah. You know, these like, but now the wheels are turning for people because they understand. They know Jewish history and they understand. It starts with little things like, hey, Jacob, go home. Jacob Frey. And then it continues on to, my friends, I'm not going to say what, because when you say things out loud, you put them out into reality, and they tend to become reality, and I don't want to do that. But I just want to tell you guys, be careful, because, like I always say, the crocodile will eat you first. Alright guys, talk to you soon.